Are you ready? Are you ready to pod it up?
Let's go. Let's have fun.
Pete cast it.
This is the Simply Youth Ministry Podcast with Doug Fields,
But we are an award-winning podcast. We gotta start promoting that.
Matt McGill,
Let's soak up that awesomeness.
How great is this?
Wow.
Josh Griffin,
Just to throw it in there, not all of our shows are going to be great.
and Katie Edwards.
That's what the teens are saying.
Write in. We'll answer your email.
SYMpodcast@gmail.com. Hey everybody, Simply Youth Ministry Podcast, episode 143. I have not been so excited for an episode as I am today. Doug Fields here with Matt McGill, Katie Edwards, and the host, Josh Griffin.
What are you so excited about? Is it
Well,
that
there's a
Fallout 2 came out? Is it New Cataclysm, World of Warcraft?
World of Warcraft for sure.
Fable 3?
Well, I'm working on my gamer score for one, but what I'm excited about is you can see over my shoulders, except for those listening, they can't see.
Yeah.
We've started our 00 Hall of Fame.
Yes.
I'm excited about that. We have, for the first time ever, a video answer. Remember last week we had a cutting question? I said I'm going to get my bud
I'm
Marv.
excited about that.
We have a video answer. We've just got people sending stuff in that's good. There's just a lot of
This
stuff.
whole stack is emails.
Well, these are all the, I haven't got, these are some of the questions.
It's the emails
Some of
minus the
questions
ones that have
I
been
don't
lost.
get to.
It's an elaborate filing system, guys. Don't mock it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just started a new filing system. You see I crossed out 99 thoughts for small group leaders. By the way,
That
this
book's
show,
done.
this show is sponsored by 99 Thoughts for Small Group Leaders by Josh Griffin with Doug Fields.
With Doug
Forward
Fields.
by Katie
Do-
Edwards.
do we have a
edited
copy?
by Matt McGill. It's all in the family.
It's a
Oh, wow.
team effort.
That
Hey,
is
but
The only
amazing.
difference is you and I don't get royalties, do
Here's
we?
the problem with this whole thing.
I got a nice thank you.
Here's the problem. Is that it's now a bestseller.
What?
You can't even buy it right
You
now.
can't even get it.
Sold
Let's
out.
get Nadeem.
What is bestseller?
Nadeem! Come here for a minute.
Bestseller.
Here,
it's
let's
not-
wait. We should have started the show after this, but that's okay.
No,
What is
all right. I don't know
what
what's going on.
constituted bestseller of a
here,
99
New York
thoughts?
Times.
Come
Printed
here,
20
come
of
here.
them.
Right next to
by a
Da Vinci
microphone.
Code?
Ladies and gentlemen, this
Nuzzle up
is
next to
Nadeem
Matt.
Najah, and Nadeem is in charge of all products.
Nadeem, come around so
and-
they can see your shirt,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah. So
He
they
plays polo.
His shirt.
Are you wearing your fat shirt today? You're looking skinny.
no, it's his.
I've lost some
No,
weight,
it's not
dude.
going to happen.
Yeah, bro. Look great.
I haven't lost enough for Nadeem to squeeze back.
Yeah, Matt said, "Is that a shirt or is that a bedspread or something like that?"
Yeah, this
Hey,
coming from
anyway,
Velour
this is
Sweatsuit.
Nadeem, a wonderful, wonderful human, kind of behind the scenes. You don't really see him on the podcast. You see him at conferences and things like that. But any product that comes out, Nadeem is in charge of. And Nadeem, this show is sponsored today by 99 Thoughts for All Small Group Leaders, which he raises. Now, you know where I'm going with this?
Unfortunately,
now,
yeah.
why is it that somehow between
Oh,
you and
dear.
Andy,
This is
that
gross.
you set the bar so low that it already sold out? Already sold out of. And now, now
Originally it was just a Josh book, right? And so that's probably
They
why.
must have, they're like, well, it'll sell 100 copies.
Yeah.
We'll print 100.
Then it was
no, don't,
Fields.
let's. I'm after
Oh,
Nadeem
don't.
here because this is like a pet peeve in publishing.
Tell me when the
You-
questions are rhetorical.
You print a book and you say, "Hey, people, we've been working like crazy on this book. We've spent a lot of time thinking about it, praying it through, working it
hours,
over, editing
sweat.
the whole bit.
Yeah.
We launch it to our team and to our friends, and then they can't get it because it sells out." So, Nadeem, you and I really haven't had a conversation about this,
I know.
but I thought we ought to now.
And it's fantastic that
Since
it's here
this
on the
show
podcast.
is sponsored by 99
Yeah.
Thoughts for All Small Group
Yeah.
Leaders.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I haven't even gotten my copies of the book
That
yet.
doesn't make
It's
me
not-
feel any better. Yeah.
I mean,
Makes me feel a little bit better.
at the end of the day, I mean, it comes down to budget. And Andy's like, "Hey, we can only print this much."
I
We
love
don't-
it. We're
we don't
throwing
wanna-"
Andy under the bus. I love it.
So-
It always comes down to Andy and money.
I said I wanted to print this much, and he's like, "Dude, we can't print that many. We don't know if this
you
book's going
wanted
to
to print
sell."
more.
I wanted to,
Thank
but
You
Oh,
knew.
yeah.
You knew. Andy's in
Yeah.
Colorado,
Out of touch.
in
I'd
and
like
out
to
of the
say.
bank.
yeah,
In and out of the bank. You're here with the
taking their
peeps,
time.
the people that are actually doing the work and
people who actually know youth
creating
ministry.
product. Yeah. And so you wanted to go higher, but Andy said we can't afford to. And look who
What
Yeah.
happened?
look what happened.
And I'm
Daddy Brazelbuck said no.
Daddy Brazelbucks definitely pulled the purse
Bottom
string
line,
stuck
Brazel.
shut on that.
So
right
we
now?
But
printed.
next week, you can get the book again.
You can order it now. It's
Oh.
just
Yeah.
not going to ship until October 24th.
26, yeah.
26th. Okay,
Wow.
just in time for Halloween. Anyway, Nadeem, thank you. Thank you for
That's when the
ladies and
small group
gentlemen,
leaders are
Nadine
really
Najmi.
Oh, Nadim.
Small group leaders
That's
don't need it at the
well,
beginning of the year.
that's a good
They don't need
point.
it when we're kicking off and getting groups. They
No,
need
you know what?
training.
Just in time for a trick or treat, or
Absolutely.
I am thankful for you as a small group leader, or Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
I do
Merry
like
Christmas.
that. Write a little note. Little hey, you're
Merry
doing a great
Christmas.
That would be a
Happy
great
New
Christmas
Year. 4
gift.
wonderful opportunities.
job. We should market that. I love it. This is great.
All right, there's so much
All right.
going on now. I
The
gotta
widows
tell
in
you.
your church should mortgage their homes to buy that
Speaking of
book.
October 26th,
Agreed.
October 26th and 27th,
Yes.
which is next week, maybe
Yeah.
this week for some people that are downloading this on the
On the iPod.
on the iTunes.
the iTunes.
Pad.
Oh, I
Is there
have.
on October 26th and 27th? There is a 20% off everything on our website.
Except for Live.
Except for Live
Simply
and the All Access,
Those
okay.
are already
Oh, that's
discounted.
cool.
And the
I guess.
code, you need to know this because we are not technical enough to put it on the screen.
Oh, we can't. It's not right here.
No.
Oh.
The code is Scare Andy.
Oh, that's
Scare
Scare Andy.
Andy.
So you can get
But-
20% off whatever you want.
Yeah,
Steering.
26th and 27th of October.
Does it include sale items? Just sorry.
I don't know. Yes. Yes, it does.
Just not
Okay.
live in Simply Alexa.
All right, and last bit of news: October 31st, last day for your early bird registration for the Simply Youth Ministry Conference.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
You
you,
need to get
save like $40 by October
And don't
31st.
think you get a deal just because you're on the podcast.
I already
You're-
tried.
you're-
They really.
I'd like
no.
a deal, please.
You don't get a deal.
No.
If I was in charge,
wanted to-
you'd
I
get a
wanted to bring
deal.
a couple of my team.
I
and
want
they're
a
like,
deal.
No, I'll get you a deal.
Okay.
You can get the early bird price.
All right.
Thank
good.
you.
Okay,
But you have to sign up before the early bird. To
but
get
you
the
need to
early
put the
bird
little
price.
twibbon. Is that on your?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I actually had 2 of them.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the
That's
little red
cute.
couch.
Yeah.
And before the end of the show, if you're going to the Simply Youth Ministry Conference, put that little red couch on your Facebook or your Twitter, and you get bonus points.
You put it on your. You put it on your what?
On your
Bonus
Simply
points for
Rewards
what?
card. They should do
I don't
that.
know. I just made that up.
Reward points for Simply Rewards.
Yes, reward. Okay,
Rewards in heaven. Continue.
okay. So the excitement is still high.
Oh,
Matt, when we were in Dallas a couple weeks ago, we were
Yes.
taken to the airport.
the conclave.
Yeah, we were taken to the airport in Dallas
By
by
Dave?
David, yes, David Monroe at Cross Point Church.
Oh.
And what was the last thing I said to him as we got out?
You said to him and to me, because
Yeah.
I was there also,
Yeah.
that if we ever had a spot on the podcast, like if Josh died,
What? Why
Or
would
Josh
we
was
be?
gone.
or Josh was late too many times.
Historically,
Well, here's the deal, right?
we've lost
women.
3. Yes.
Yeah.
Clearly,
women,
I would be the one that
Clearly, if you're-
statistically would be
statistically,
falling
yeah,
out.
woman
Yeah.
would fall off. But-
Definitely.
But
Yeah.
we just thought he actually reminded me of you because he was very warm. He had a very quick,
Excellent
he had a
writer.
very, very quick wit. He is actually a good writer.
He was
So
very,
that's where
he
we're
was
going
very
next.
cool.
So he
A little
said,
smarter than Josh.
he says, thanks
Doesn't
again
take
for being a
much.
part of the Youth Ministry Conference. We appreciate the time, wisdom, experience you were able to share. I had a great time getting to know both you guys on the way to the airport.
Oh,
you were
meant-
both so fun and genuinely excited to hear my testimony and a snapshot of my life. Sorry about the multiple near-death experiences. Hospitality is clearly my second job. Hope you enjoyed your Diet Coke, Doug. Brought me a Diet Coke.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are you back on Diet Coke?
No,
Just- oh.
no, it just
Just-
was for that.
Just
That ride.
Trip.
Yeah, you didn't
Yeah.
want to offend him.
I felt like if you're gonna open my door for me and taxi me to the airport,
You'll drink his
serve
Diet
me a
Coke.
Diet
Yeah, bring it here.
He says, I look forward to taking you up on your offer to be a part of the podcast when I'm in
Oh,
California or
nice.
when Josh is gone.
Wow, it was me. Guys.
Yeah.
He
Thanks.
says, not sure what that meant. Doesn't look good for Josh.
Nope.
FYI, after our ride, I immediately downloaded a Train Your Dog app for my iPhone.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm well on my way to Siegfried and Roy status with my puppy training.
That's funny. Didn't they have tigers?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I think
But-
the point
but
was
if you
training.
Oh, the training.
With
Okay, I'm so excited because we got our pictures.
I do
Yes.
like
We
that.
have
Cool.
we have live media coming in.
Yes.
The other times we've tried live media, Katie, I don't know what episode it is. One of our 00 guys can
We
tell
have
us.
live media coming in?
We had a humor coach on the phone,
Oh.
It was
and
awesome.
it didn't go very
It
well.
bombed.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah,
Awesome, but it bombed.
Yeah, but we've got good questions. One about a volunteer staff beer drinking thing that went on. I've got a game that we're going to play called Find a Mentor in Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
We've got some
Whack-a-mole.
music stuff. Whack-a-mole. There you go. All right. Hank Stram, who I think used to coach in the NFL. He's the
did.
director of youth ministries at Stam. Sorry,
Oh.
threw the R in there. Director of youth ministries, Vicksburg United Methodist Church, Vicksburg,
Missouri?
Michigan.
Oh, sorry.
Wow,
I?
fail.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's
No,
California
we're
and
Southern
everything
California,
else.
yeah.
Doesn't really
What are you
matter.
guys talking about?
Geography fail.
He
You're
says-
American.
Totally,
Yeah.
I would totally admit that. I don't know where
Missouri.
anything
Which
is.
actually goes way back to our early days with Natalie because she didn't know any initials.
That's true.
Of geography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But
I don't either.
just
Sorry,
thought
buds.
you might.
yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of MIs
There's
in
a lot
our.
of
Yeah.
room for Dave
Great.
on this show. That's great.
Just thought I'd say thanks. I'm sitting watching a full yard of pumpkins
What?
for a fundraiser for our youth ministry and working on Bible lessons at 3 a.m. You guys are keeping me wide awake. Thank you for sharing your life
Wow.
with the team. When I read that, I thought, that's youth ministry right
Totally.
there. Dude's working on Bible studies at 3 in the morning while watching a pumpkin patch.
Pumpkin patch.
He's like guarding the pumpkins.
I'm guessing that's a fundraiser, and
He doesn't want
That's
anybody to
sweet.
steal them or smash them. That happens.
but
smash
you know, he probably had this dream of having some volunteer families doing it.
Totally. He
You
probably
know,
even had
Student
people
leaders
scheduled.
with
Yeah.
their small group, some things.
They were all gung ho in the
Work,
beginning.
dear. Babe will be fine. I'll get
We'll
other
make lots
people
of
to
money
do
for
it.
the
I'll
youth
get it
mission
set up. I'll
trip.
be home by 7. Yeah. And here it is at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, he's probably
here-
single now.
No, yeah. He also, in all this time he has, he says, how about quote unquote, this is the name for the wall group, so this is the Hall of
yeah.
Fame, the double zeros, and this side over here is the, we called him last week, the re-virginated.
Oh.
Is that what we landed on?
You just called all those dudes virgins.
No, what was the term that say
Recycled.
Second? I don't know.
I don't remember.
second generation
Sec-
virgins? That's not what we're going to use. But we're looking for some
I
name
think-
on that
yeah,
wall.
keep
and so
it going,
He says, how about
revirginated.
agents or double O agents?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Those of us who started late and caught up could be Club 72, like the 72 that were sent out. I know that's geeky. I'm just spitballing. But here's the thing, Hank. When you're in
I
a
love
when you're in a
spitballing.
pumpkin patch at 3 a.m.,
You can shoot whatever you need to shoot
Yeah, it
out
probably
there.
sounded
That's great.
good.
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah,
Any
Club
idea is a good
72.
idea in brainstorming. But
Totally.
here's the deal. Here's what leaders do. They don't stay on bad ideas. So we need some more. We need some more. So,
Right.
hey,
You
welcome
seem
to
to
the
be
team,
stuck
Mark
on
this
Eads.
graceful.
Mark Eads, we have his photo here.
Right here.
Where is he?
Over
Right here.
there.
Oh, yeah, there's
Oh, he's
Mark.
The
He
re
says,
side.
Matt, I wrote down that I'm a re-virgin of the podcast, so
Yeah.
here's a pic that I know my friend Matt will enjoy. I'm watching two of my favorite things, World of Warcraft and the Simply Youth Ministry
Oh,
podcast.
that's
And
cute.
he's in the
Really no
live show.
difference.
I was
Yeah.
talking to him a little bit earlier in the live show. So
Dual
welcome to the
screen.
wall, Mark. Welcome to the wall, Nate, as in Nate Nauman from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Been a steady listener from 00, regularly challenged, encouraged, and equipped, and often entertained by your podcast. I'm confident there are many, many youth pastors like me who follow guys and gals because you are authentic, wise, and practical. Matt, the quote, write it down advice from last episode would have been priceless had I not moved to a computer many years ago. But thanks, gang, for your ministry to me.
That
Keep up
was
the
glorious.
great work.
That
I
is
thought he was going to say,
funny.
but I forgot to write it down.
Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
Dusty Smith. Dusty Smith has been
Oh,
indulging the
Dusty.
podcast since episode 00.
Put me on
You
the
guys and gal really
Oh.
pick me up each time I listen. Matt, it's good to see you're losing weight. I'm the guy who started the weight loss competition last year. I didn't do well, but in the last 6 weeks, I've lost 25 pounds.
Wow.
Keep striving for a healthier life. Christopher Graham. He's a born again 00 listener in that
Born again.
he says he started with 00, had to take a break for a few months, maybe jail, I'm not sure. Went back and caught up, so I guess it's more of
Psychotic
a
episode.
fallen away and repented listener.
Yeah, backslider,
But this
I get
is
it.
with our fake teeth here. That
Love
is
it.
Christopher
Do you know
Graham.
that those are fake teeth?
I just assume, if not, he's in trouble.
Do you guys remember what you talked about on your 00 show?
Listen to a
Yes.
dental podcast.
No.
Yeah.
Why
we
don't you
talked
go
about-
back and listen to it? Just listen to one show.
It's a
Katie.
piece
Just
of
00?
Just 00.
One
That's all you
show
have to
or
do.
00?
And then do a report on it.
A report.
I'll send you an
next
email.
week.
Think of how young we all
Podcast.
looked
Can you do a
back 3
PowerPoint
years
presentation?
ago.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I
but I
wasn't
can
as
send you an
weathered.
email.
Yeah. No. You're not
probably
weathered, dude. You're just leather's in right now.
Leathers.
That was
Ryan
funny. Good job, buddy.
Bengstrom, Director of Student
on
Ministry,
tonight.
Central Point Church, Concord, New Hampshire. Been a 00 guy.
Yeah.
I've been on board for the ride, enjoying episodes since the days of such antics as the weigh-in bit, the Comedy Coach phone calls, Natalie's backside episode, and so much more high-quality youth ministry content. You even answered a question of mine about small groups.
You are welcome.
So anyway,
help, but
he
we
is.
answered.
He does say, "Does anyone know what state NH is abbreviated for?"
Yes.
See, that goes back to early
Strong,
episodes.
yeah.
So, Ryan, you're on the wall. Jeremy Smith,
And it just,
you're on the wall.
gotcha.
He says Thursdays are his Sabbath.
New Hampshire.
And I don't know if Jeremy, maybe he's online, because he says, is this the crosstalk part that we said we weren't going to do?
He's the
ahead of
one
time?
talking.
I know,
I
all
wasn't
three of you-
cross. I was whispering here.
All
and then
three
it
of you are
crossed
guilty.
off.
He says Thursdays are my Sabbath, so this is me in my office at Barnes and Nobles. Every joke makes me laugh, and I get the occasional look, but enjoy it anyway.
Every joke makes you laugh.
You
I
are
think
on the wall,
You should
Jeremy.
listen to it out loud. No headphones. If you're in Barnes and Noble, you crank that up.
Matt Sasso, Life Bible Fellowship, double listener. You're on the wall. So
Got it.
here's my new game. Ready? What?
Yes.
My brother grew up with Matt Sasso. He grew
did?
up down the street from us, and he found me at a PDYM one time and was like, "Do you remember me?"
Matt Sasso.
And we talked.
The Matt Sasso?
Yes,
The
yes.
Matt
He went
Sasso?
to like our
Oh, look,
elementary school.
Attended youth meeting in the early 90s at Saddleback.
Yes.
Let's see the picture.
He was really good
Matt
friends with.
Sasso's right here.
Right there.
He was
Oh.
friends with my brother in elementary school,
Look
and
at-
we like.
Spells December backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Good inside humor, man. This is, ladies and gentlemen, a new episode that we're going to call Find a Mentor. We need a mentor for Brian. Will you be my
Nike?
last name person? Nike? That's how you're going to say that?
Nike.
Naykki.
Nike's.
Nike.
Nakey.
Brian Nake's 34. He's watching the podcast, enjoys every minute of it. I'm writing in need of some major help and direction. I have a heart for youth, and I want to be a voice to them here in northern Minnesota. Our first youth day is November 10th. Our church does not have any previous youth or children's ministry,
wow.
so it's being
That's
built
cool.
from ground up, and it scares me. My senior pastor threw the ball in my court and says it's mine to go with, so I don't feel as if we're a team. I don't want to be a one-man show. I feel inadequate, no college background, 34 years old, the ball's in my court, scary. In our church now, there's one teenager, but I know that if it's a God thing, the youth will come, but I feel in the dark, I need help, please help me.
Awesome.
Wow.
So
Incredible.
that's not the type of question you answer on the podcast, but it made me think, let's find this guy a mentor. So if you were in the northern Minnesota area, or you would mentor this person over the phone or via email, send us something
That's super
at
cool.
sympodcast@gmail.com. Brian, you should start subscribing to our Youth Ministry Daily that Matt and I do, which is youthministry.com/subscribe. Start there, but we're going to get you a mentor. Somebody on our podcast team is going to say, Doug, I feel led by the Spirit
Tears running down their face.
to take on Brian.
And
That's so
because,
great.
because we were making the connection on the podcast, we are going to, what? Year of contests? What are we doing to celebrate these
Give away a
guys?
free DVD of Fargo.
Let's see if
That's
the
like North Dakota.
let's see if the
That's
person
not Minnesota.
What is happening
Geography
right
show.
now?
There's your title right there. The show where we prove we don't know anything about geography.
Oh, that's
Fargo's not
So-
Minnesota.
Can we?
No.
Okay.
yeah, North Dakota.
So are we going to give the mentor anything?
I
Are
think we
gonna
need
give-
to let's see if the mentor
Who steps up to be the mentor?
steps up, and let's
Is there
see
any
if-
qualifications for the mentor? Can't be a
well,
moron.
he's got to have more experience than Brian.
Okay.
All right.
That's easy.
All right.
So at least 6 months of experience and 2 kids. in
And
his
here's what
ministry.
Brian should
2
do.
weeks.
Brian should write us back in a few months
Yeah.
and say this guy's really stepped up. I think he's deserving of.
Blank.
And we will
super
reward.
That's cool.
reward
I
him.
love that he's asking for help, though. I think sometimes people jump in and
Yeah, I think
it's
they know
it's
it all.
cool.
Great
That's
attitude.
cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's 34. 24, you don't ask for help. 34,
No way.
you ask for
34,
help.
totally.
Yeah. I think you know everything. and you realize you don't.
I'm not making fun of the 24-year-olds.
You are a little.
That's okay.
No, I'm just saying.
say when you were 24.
We
you
would
were-
make fun of ourselves at 24
Wait.
in youth
Oh, you
ministry.
You were cocky
Totally.
at 24 and you're not anymore? Is that what this is?
Right. You should have seen him.
What did you look
Oh, that's
If
horrible.
this is healed McGill
Oh, gosh.
Hey, here's a question
I said
from
sorry
Mark
yesterday.
Eads, who's on the board.
Over there.
Mark, hey, this would also be a good thing, now that we say this, when you send your questions to sympodcast@gmail.com, that you would say, I'm on the board.
I'm on the board.
Because they should get maybe priority.
Oh.
It depends on the question. As I read the question, it's all,
Yeah.
man,
It's
I
question wins.
I
Best
lay
question.
all the questions down and then lay on them and pray.
We weren't going to really talk about that.
So I did, when I released the book, I put a copy down, prayed over it. 99 Thoughts for Small Group Leaders.
Sponsored by
One copy.
Just one copy. Well, they were sold out. I couldn't get it.
It's a bestseller.
Wow.
Okay, so
Being late
Katie,
does well for you.
this is you and Josh. Matt and I are going to be completely silent.
All right,
Okay.
so that means it's
What?
you, and I'll add a little color commentary.
I've been pretty quiet this podcast. I've been good. I would like some affirmation for that.
I'm going to save my affirmation till the end of the
To
show.
the end, I got to go the whole. It's not.
You got to go the distance.
It's not half. Okay.
You got it. You go
And
first.
your interpretation is good, and mine is very different.
He wants a question off.
Last night when you were teaching the small group Bible study,
One crosstalk that they involved me.
last night when you were teaching the Bible study, my behavior
was good.
was good.
It was good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Which is
They kept the two
interesting.
Normally
kids
I jack
quiet.
around
That
Because
was,
right, the guy who it kills the most, because when you're on stage, you gotta,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then when you're off stage, you become that guy that you hate. I know because I am that guy as well.
yeah.
You are.
I'm like,
Okay, here's the question. You shared. We got to hurry because we got to get to our media.
We're ready.
Yeah.
oh,
I was so excited, and I'm losing steam on my side. You shared your meet and greet that you do each year for parents on podcast 141. I was wondering if there were some key questions you tried to address with the parents during that meet and greet. We're doing something similar next week where the parents will get to meet the adult leaders and spend time with them. I want to equip each of my sponsors with some possible questions they might be asked at the meet and greet so they'll be able to answer them.
oh, it's great.
That's a great question.
Katie, 1 minute on what the meet and greet is.
Yes, the meet and greet is we bring our small groups. It's kind of the kickoff night of small groups. And we bring our small groups, all of our small groups together. And it's the opportunity for students and parents to come and meet their leader before they go into homes, because our small groups meet in homes midweek. So it's just kind of a safe, neutral environment to kick off small groups for parents, students, and adult leaders. For us, it's a great opportunity. We don't do a lot of talking. From our perspective, we kind of leave it in the small group leaders' court. So we do a quick, 5-minute, here's just our overview of small groups, our heart behind small groups, why we do it, so parents kind of know us and all of our adult leaders are all on the same page. And for me, I give little parent kind of questionnaires for leaders to give parents to fill out, just to give them some background on their students and who they are and how they'd like to be involved, and just kind of give them something that is a great little communication or conversation starter between leaders and parents.
Good. Now,
Yeah.
Can we put that on your blog?
Yeah, I think we totally can. That'd be great.
So we'll put that
I
on
was thinking the same thing.
morethandodgeball.com.
Well, why wouldn't we put that on my blog? My blog's a lot better than
Your
yours.
your blog of love, youth ministry, enjoy Jesus.
Enjoy life.
What's it called?
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm just kidding.
You can
What
say
is the name of that blog?
I just forgot the name of
It's
my
called
blog. Love God, love students.
and it is excellent.
Oh, it's the best.
Partially because
It's-
Matt
it's
McGillsport's
the best.
instructional videos
Yeah,
are on there.
it's the
but-
best blog ever. When you mention blogs, I just would like there to be a little equality. Katie's blog.
I don't have a
my
blog, I'm okay.
Josh, your blog.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just-
yeah.
Let's just be fair.
Well,
we will put that up on
kind of
board,
am
Matt.
fair in terms of
Equality.
Well, I wasn't going to say quality. I was going to say audience. That when you actually get 2 or 3 people reading your
I
blog.
have 7 people that read it a week.
All right.
Just kidding.
I would say part of what we try to do, as well as what Katie just said, was put the parents' mind at ease. Some of the
Yep.
parents is the first, especially incoming parents, they're nervous, they have questions, and so we try to reassure them that these are great volunteers and they're godly men and women, and they have been background checked. And I also try to really make sure there's a strong connection between the parent and us, knowing that we want to partner with you. So if you have a question, your kid is the most important kid that I'm going to deal with that day, and we're going to drop everything and try to serve you and do our best to do that. So
It's just a great front door.
it's a
just
front
a
door,
great
it's a
first
relationship
step.
building, and honestly, a whole lot of it's not programmed. It is just conversations. It is a meet
Yeah.
and greet, and then we kind of turn people loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a
And if you'd like to see how Matt and I decorated our table for the boys, you could
fantastic.
go on my Twitter photos
That's right.
and check it out.
Fantastic.
Fish,
Yes.
fish, licorice, and paper.
Yeah, it's a great night because you have all the admin stuff that you need to do too. Like we give each student a Bible. There's a little notebook journal thing and whatever.
Yep.
So it lets us get some of that admin stuff out of the way and partner with parents and make the all important introduction.
Well, and as the small group leader, I got to meet the parents, and then you took the parents out.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so then we got to just hang with the kids, and you dealt with the parents and talked to them
Totally.
about philosophy and family friendly and what we want to do for them and the whole
Exactly.
bit. And so it's a great.
it's an
a great
everybody
thing to do.
wins
Yeah.
type of situation.
And for new
It's
students,
great.
like you said, incoming 7th graders and incoming freshmen, it's a huge here's who we are, we know you now type of a thing.
And if you
so.
didn't do it in the fall, you could easily do it in January.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and give
Totally.
everybody 99 thoughts for small group leaders while you're at it.
There you go.
What a great idea.
And I'll tell you, this has nothing to do with this question, but with small groups. You know, I get home last night. I'm driving back from our first night of small group. I get an email.
First night of small group in our home.
First night of small group.
We've
in
been
our
meeting
home.
a small group,
Yeah.
but last
Yeah.
night they met in the home.
Yeah.
Okay, let me pause right here for a
Yeah.
second. I have a kid dropped off. You know, it starts at 7. I have a kid dropped off at my house at 6:20
Holy
last night.
That's
smokes.
early.
Yeah, well, his dad had to get somewhere.
Right.
And so we're sitting down for dinner, and I had to have a little conversation with it.
Yes.
Say, hey, come join us for dinner. You know, he joined us for dinner, but said,
Really?
hey, tell your dad to call me this week. Because
Yeah.
you can't be dropped off at 6:20. Love you, the whole bit,
6:20.
but I'm just getting
Totally.
home. We're doing family dinner.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
no.
first
Yeah.
night, poor kid.
Well, otherwise, you're going to plan to be out
Yeah.
for dinner
Yeah.
and then slide in at
No,
6:50.
I'm going to have
Yeah.
a conversation.
Oh, dude. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta do that right in the beginning too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right away, week one,
Okay,
boom.
sorry.
Yeah.
You,
Oh,
get,
no,
home,
it's
you
okay.
get home from small
No, but a
group
cool
last
thing, as I'm driving home, I get an email from this website that they've all set up. Churchteens.com,
Yeah.
and it's awesome. It's got. Have you seen this?
No.
They've got all their small group leaders on it,
That's
of
great.
which we are, and it says, "Hey, communication's important. Click one of these 3 links. We met this week. We didn't meet this week. I need to change my roster," or something like that. So you click on one thing, goes to a web page. You check the kids that are there, the kids that weren't. You could do prayer requests. You can give an update, and you hit send. It either goes to the whole group if you wanted to, or it just goes to the leadership. And it was so cool and so easy to check in and let them know what we talked about. Let them know
That's
what we're going
great.
to talk about next week.
That's good.
I mean, it was
Did you remember everybody who was there or not?
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you guys small
Wait a minute,
group
you're
isn't
not- you're-
small.
I
No.
know
Yeah.
you have a.
We have
mini-
2. I mean, we have 2 small groups. I mean, it's really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're pretty capable from what I gather.
I'm glad that was
Well,
easy
some
for
of
you.
us.
I really like church teams because it's just created just another little easy level of communication that night. So you're
Yeah.
right there that night, kind of going, oh yeah, and, oh here's a prayer request I remember.
And I know, like, these ministries are a lot bigger than most ministries out there. But
For sure.
I'm thinking if I had 4 or 5 Bible studies happening in different homes, I would still want to use that. I mean, I don't know what the price is on it. If it's
not bad at all.
but it was a cool thing.
Why
I
don't
mean,
you blog about it?
yeah.
well, I'm sure.
And
he's-
love God, love students.
I actually just wrote a post while you were talking.
Wow.
All right, you guys got that up. All right, it's actually live right
Yeah.
now. No, it's not. But no, I think you should. I'm glad you had a
Totally.
good experience with it. That's the dream. Is that let's say you have 4 small groups scattered around your community,
Yeah.
but now the ministry is reporting back, and you have an idea.
It was neat. It's great.
kids who are falling through the cracks.
That's good.
conflict
What percentage
relievers.
of the leaders
Let's
do it?
say one of those kids was cutting. Oh, what a good transition. This is the question. Dave
Good job.
Hagen. Wow. Dave
Good
Hagen from Wausau, Wisconsin.
Oh,
He says, so in the
Fargo.
last episode of the podcast, I got to hear my name mentioned, and then Doug said he would send me a book and
What?
get an expert to answer my question. I don't remember saying I'd send him the book,
you're
but
welcome.
now I am not an original member, but did go all the way back and listen to all of the podcasts.
Whoa. Give us your picture.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
send your picture in.
Put them on the wall.
He'd be on the revirginated wall, which needs a better
Yeah,
name.
leaders don't use that.
Please
thing.
send in your names.
That being said, I then saw Doug fold my email and set it on the floor. I instantly got nervous and thought I'd better send another email.
Yeah.
Well,
It's dead to
it's
us.
it's hard that you wouldn't trust me, Dave,
Yeah, your organizational skills are
However-
legendary.
because I have it right here.
Whoa.
Oh
Not only
man!
have it right
Whoa.
here, but
And now we're
I
gonna tear it.
no, I called my friend Marv Penner, who's kind of the youth ministry guru in Canada.
Uh-huh.
Taught at Briarcrest College for many years, longtime youth pastor, wrote a book on cutting.
Wow.
And I asked him,
A whole book on cutting.
yes,
By the end of it,
yeah,
you'll want to cut
a little
yourself.
slice at a time.
That was uncalled for.
Terrible.
That was terrible. Griff, what alien has inhabited your body today? This is unbelievable.
I think you're just
I'm
like
excited
every other
about
week.
lunch. We're
Yeah.
going to Outback. I'm taking you, not you, because you can never do lunch with us. But
Are you coming this week?
I had to pick up
Oh goodness.
Okay, so
So
he
much
says, Love the podcast. For a long time, I'm assistant pastor at a very small church that had 0 teenagers, and everyone was 20 years older than my wife and I. During this time, I was also working full-time in a warehouse, and your podcast kept me going on some days when I was wondering if I'd ever get to go into youth ministry like I felt called to. Anyway, I'm currently a youth pastor in Wausau, Wisconsin. I came into a place with a very different situation, been there for almost a year. Context. We have one student who's almost impossible to motivate. I've tried everything that I can think of to motivate her. She also cuts, and she does not hide it. My wife and I have not dealt with this very much and feel a bit overwhelmed with it. The leaders before us would give lots of attention to the girls who are cutting, make them show their arms and prove that they were not doing that. But with this girl, it's an absolute cry for attention. I hate to give attention for negative behavior or reward negative behavior, so I've talked with her about it, but do not feel like always pulling her aside and working her over would be the best. Just wondering if you have any thoughts on this, or just some thoughts on how to deal with teens with the issue of cutting.
That being said,
So, none of us in here are experts on this, but my friend Marv Penner is, and so we asked Marv. He recorded a little 4-minute ditty. And
little ditty.
This is
by
really awesome.
Jack.
Did you send him a book?
29.
What's the name of his book?
well, the name of Marv's book is Hope and Help for Kids Who Cut,
Wow.
and it's
Is it
called
written
Learning.
to students or to
No,
adults?
to youth workers.
Okay.
Learning to understand and help those who self-injure. Okay, Hope and Healing for
Alright.
Kids Who Cut. Learning to understand and help those who self-injure. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Marv Penner.
Hey, my name is Marv Penner, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to this cutting question that's been raised. I think all of us understand the huge frustration that comes when kids are using extreme and self-destructive behavior in a way that just seems obvious as a demand for our attention. It obliges us, and everything inside of us when kids use these kind of attention-getting behaviors just wants to respond by withholding attention as a way of not reinforcing the behavior that they're using. That's our natural response, and there's a measure of logic that comes with it. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with kids who are self-injuring, logic isn't always the best way to deal with it. First off, if you've got a student who is using behavior that's that extreme, that's that shameful, that's that painful as a way of asking for your involvement, chances are they really need your involvement at a deep level. Obviously, they just don't know how to ask for it in a way that's healthy and appropriate. The first thing that you want to do with a student like this is you want to affirm in whatever way you can that the longing they have to have someone involved in their life, someone who understands what's going on for them, someone to come alongside, someone to be there for them, is a perfectly legitimate and healthy longing, a perfectly healthy hunger that they have, and that the problem isn't so much that they need you to come alongside. The problem is that they haven't figured out a healthy and appropriate way to ask for you to come alongside. And so you got to recognize that behind that behavior, there is a story that must be unpacked before you can respond appropriately. Because responding to the behavior alone is obviously not going to be very helpful in the long term. My guess, if this girl's story is typical of the many others that I've dealt with over the years who seem to fit into the same pattern, is that her story is going to be marked by all sorts of aloneness and abandonment. Chances are she comes from a relational environment, maybe a home where no one did pay very much attention to her, no one did take her seriously, and so she discovered over the course of time that the only way to get people involved in her life was to do something extreme. And of course, over the years, this becomes habitual. This becomes the way they relate to everybody. Her patheticness, her neediness is just obnoxious to people around her. And while you hate to see her living that pattern, your fear is that if you respond positively by giving her attention, you're just going to be reinforcing her pattern of doing that. Now, we obviously need to give a way more attention to dealing with this issue of self-injury. It's a big topic that would be worthy of a bigger response. But at some point, you need to say something along this line. what you're asking for is legitimate and good and right. It's not wrong for you to want someone like myself to know your story and to know you and to provide support and encouragement. But I got to tell you, the way you're asking for it makes it hard for me to be involved. It makes it feel like you're demanding it, like you're obliging me, rather than inviting me into a relationship or a friendship that could be positive. And so what we want to do is we want to talk together about some ways that you can ask for my involvement that actually invite me in, rather than making it feel like you're pushing me away with your demands. Now, obviously, that sounds clinical and contrived, and you're going to say it in a much more gentle and natural way. But somehow that's got to be communicated. And then, of course, to take the time to listen to the backstory. The story is going to be complicated. It's going to be painful. It's going to be tough. But when the behavior is disconnected from the story, then all you have left is to respond to the behavior. If you can hear the story, and if you can gently come alongside the abandonment, the loneliness that she's felt in her story, then there will be a relationship. And from that relationship, you can then begin to address both the relational pattern and the behavior that is so destructive in the long term. Now, I know that that's a short answer to a tough question, and in my book, Hope and Healing for Kids Who Cut, I've addressed the issue of the attention-getting motivation behind self-injury in a little more detail. Might be worth you having a quick look at that. But in the meantime, please accept my thanks for what you do with hurting kids like this. The fact that you care enough about this to ask the question tells me that God's given you a huge heart of compassion for deeply hurting kids, and what you're doing really, really matters. I trust that all of us who are listening in today will recognize that God wants us to be involved in the lives of these kinds of kids, that He will give us patience and grace to do so, and wisdom to approach it, not from just the behavior point of view, but from what's going on beneath the behavior, the story that needs to be heard and responded to with the love and compassion of Christ. So thanks again, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to this. Blessings on you. Bye-bye now.
Here's what I'd like to do. Because that issue is very serious, and you can't. That's part of the things we've talked about in the podcast. People bring very deep issues, and we can't just Band-Aid answer issues. But cutting is one where I thought, instead of ignoring this question or us trying to put Band-Aids on it, let's ask a pro. And what I'd like to do, Josh, is I'll get you his book.
Yeah,
Why don't you read it?
I would like that.
I'll read it too.
You'd like to read it?
Yeah.
Great.
Do you find many junior hires cutting?
You know what? Tail end of 8th grade. Maybe some of that will start. Not a ton in 7th grade. Not a ton early on, but 8th grade, 14.
Yeah.
Age 14, so
thing.
Now, do
freshman.
you feel like in high school that it is on the increase or the decrease?
I would say it's on the increase.
Yeah.
It feels like, in a very, very serious way, we've had an increase in cutting, and I would say, honestly, suicide.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
it's legit right now.
Well,
right
suicide
now,
conversations.
Suicide conversations,
Did
definitely.
you say honestly, like you'd be joking about suicides?
Well, it's no. No.
Oh.
I just feel like it's absolutely on the rise. And I can handle the suicidal issue that feel much more prepared to handle that than cutting. I don't understand cutting.
Yeah.
And if I'm honest with you, I would say I have a kid in my family, of the 4 of my children, one of them who I think has a propensity towards a little bit of self-harm. And he's really young, so it's really early to say that, but I would absolutely say that. So I'm looking at him going, I do not understand why you would want to injure yourself. So to be honest, I need to read the book for the youth ministry, but also because I think I have a kid who would default to that if not.
Well, why don't we make this discussion number 1? We thank Maura for that. I think a lot of people listening, grab the book and let's start dialoguing on it, because it is
What's the name of the book again? I'm so sorry.
The book is Hope and Healing for Kids Who
Hope
Cut.
and Healing. Okay.
Learning to Understand and Help Those Who Self-Injure. It's published by Youth Specialties.
Awesome.
The author is Marv Penner. And
Sounds like a good read.
yeah, buy it on
Sounds
Amazon.
like a great thing
and-
just to have in your library.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
in the off chance.
Well,
that-
and even well, it would be a good thing. There was going to be a volunteer in somebody's youth ministry who has a kid in the group, And for me, I would say, gosh, I know it's on the rise and no kids are doing it. I don't fully understand it, but I just got this book. Why don't you read it?
And then be the champion of it.
Yeah, and take
lead the
and
next
teach
training.
me.
Yeah.
Download
Yeah.
some stuff and let's learn this. Let's learn this together.
Love it.
Okay. So anyway, let's pick that up. Would you make a note to read that and
I will.
to blog?
Can you write that in your moleskin?
Yeah, I already blogged it. We're fine.
Callback didn't work on that one.
Good enough.
Yeah.
My jokes. I'm
I
taking
gave
you
it a
out of that.
chuckle.
Katie, how are you doing on time? Because I know
I'm okay.
you've
Like
got
5
to.
minutes.
Okay. I was also wondering, and I know we've been talking about blogs a lot. Matt, do you want to take a question that was sent in
Cool.
And put it in my blog?
about putting it on your blog?
Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Yep.
Okay. Then I'm going to give you Dan McCloskey's question
That'll be a good
from
one.
Altona, Manitoba, Canada. Okay.
Oh, Marv Pinner's area.
Yeah. So
Also
he
on
has
that.
questions about a diverse group and it growing and some diversity issues and things like that. I
Wonderful.
think it'd be interesting. I'm not going to give it to you now because you'll start thinking about it.
Good call.
I already am.
All right.
It's too late.
You're already thinking about diversity.
Think about this diversity. We need it. Next question.
This is from Mary. Mary says something
Exactly.
interesting, and she talks about afterwards when the three of us go out to lunch because Katie bails on us a lot.
Hey,
Katie's very intelligent.
Well, she actually has a
Really
job.
popular.
hey, I was late because I don't have a good reason.
Yeah.
But I do have a job.
We always talk about at the end of the show where we go, that was good, or that we could have done more on this, or we talked too long on that.
Yeah.
We evaluate the show. She says, I have some experience in youth ministry, and I'm now a seminary student getting a master's to further prepare for youth and young adult ministry. I started listening to the podcast
awesome.
around episode 80 and have been a faithful listener ever since.
Doesn't make the wall.
It feels like, but here's
Sorry,
what it feels like.
yes.
It feels like faithful listeners, if they're team members, they should make a wall. Doesn't have to be this
No,
wall.
This
you
is
like,
like-
to
this is-
include everybody.
No, here's the deal. When I get so excited when somebody, like when we were gone speaking in
He
places,
said I'm a team member.
and
That was
somebody
great.
says I'm a team member, I get this new excitement. Like, oh, okay.
We are all on the same team. We're on God's. We're the God Squad.
My first year in youth ministry was the first year of your conference, and I've also been coming to that ever since. I can't wait to be there again in 2011. Now, Mary, I can't wait for you to be there again as
be
well
there.
in 2011. And I want you to put a red couch on your
Twibbin.
Twibbin.
That's the website.
It is.
Yeah. But we're supposed to
Why
get
are you
we're
laughing?
supposed to get a link. We're going to get a link soon.
Yeah,
The
it'll
theme-
click right here on the screen, right? No, you can't do that.
He says, I,
That'd be
she
great
says
when
I
you
was
can on
catching
video.
up on the podcast. I was just listening to episode 141 when you briefly talked about having decided not to evaluate your shows anymore. I think it's a good policy.
It shows.
When I listened to your podcast for the first time, I was disappointed because I was expecting something more content.
What are you talking about?
Go back to your degree program.
Luckily, I decided to give it another chance because there wasn't a lot to do in Slovakia anyway. The more I listened and got to know the members of the podcast team, the more I understood what it's all about. Now, every time I listen, I come away with some valuable insights for faithful, Christ-centered ministry, or a reminder that I shouldn't take myself so seriously all the
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Usually,
definitely
I come
that
away
latter.
with both. Sometimes
Be
laughter.
sarcastic, apparently.
Sometimes laughter comes a long way with our calling because God calls us to live so radically different from how the world lives.
Amen.
Thank you for keeping me sane, always reminding me that ministry is also about joy and fellowship, not just programs and efficient meetings.
Cool.
That's Mary from the Lutheran Theological Seminary at Gettysburg.
Ooh, Gettysburg. Fancy.
Slovakia. Gettysburg, Slovakia.
Josh has the
was
total
funny.
giggles.
I'm
does.
excited
He's very
to hang out
excited.
today.
We're-
It's been a
I
couple
know.
weeks.
Well,
I'm pumped.
who's the one that's bailed the last couple times?
Well,
Don't
only
make
the
me
people
say
with
your name
jobs.
out loud.
Don't make me
Let's
say.
see. Was it Dallas that made it, or was it Pennsylvania, or where were you? Come on.
I'm home for a while.
Oh man.
Good.
Tim Bailey. Okay, would you guys stop? That was during the video. We could do that during the video, but you can't do that now.
Okay.
Have you-
All right.
Oh, so close. Right.
Thank you. Katie, stop.
Reel him in, will you?
Okay,
I
this is
can't.
from Tim
There's no
Bailey.
reeling him in.
Tim Bailey, sorry I can't send a pic of me in my office since I've never had one and still
Dang.
don't. Tim, send a picture of where you listen.
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes
and Yeah.
Noble.
Speakers on.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Even though I've listened since the first day, since the glorious Chim days, I wish people, everybody spells it Chim. It's Chim, C-H-E-M. Through the days
Thought it
of
was
Josh
Chin.
morphing into the host of the podcast and Matt looking fantastic. Way to go, Matt.
Oh, thank you.
I've been competing with you, but given your mental toughness, you are certainly in the lead.
Well,
Anyway, my question is this. How can someone who has been doing volunteer youth ministry for 7 years...
that was for you, Katie.
That was great.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Are we done?
I'm
gonna report
sorry.
this.
I'm
I'm going
sorry.
to report this right now. That's crosstalk.
My question is,
sorry.
how can someone who has been doing volunteer youth ministry for 7 years, putting in almost full-time hours, including study... including study...
Good up until this email.
Full-time hours, including
I'm
study
ready.
and seminars, such
I'm
as
ready. I'm
the
listening.
award-winning podcast, in addition to my family and job, get a job as a youth worker when it seems that everyone is hiring is requiring 2 years or more of the full-time youth leader. Where I was serving, there were only 4 of us, 2 couples as the staff, all volunteer. I can't think of any better job than full-time youth ministry, even with the messy aspects. All the rejection is getting me discouraged. Those who have been kind enough to explain what they see lacking is the point that I have not yet had sufficient experience as the point person, let alone being paid staff.
It's a great question. Bunch of different ways we can go after this. What do you guys think?
Thank you, host.
You're welcome for that.
You have a position. Why don't you hire somebody?
I'm full up right now, but I would offer one thing right away: volunteer. Volunteer in a ministry, get some good experience, and when there's an open position, in a lot of situations, volunteers are the first people that are looked at.
Okay, I know I had the giggles, and so maybe didn't listen closely enough. But aren't
Isn't
they
he a volunteer
volunteering
right
for
now?
7 years?
But find a place where that's true. So if it's a small
So it
church,
To be the point person.
Well,
Yeah,
my
if you-
my thought was to somebody like Tim is maybe you go to a place, a smaller place
Thank you. Yeah.
that would hire you without being the. I mean, 7 years experience is great,
right?
That's
what
a
else do you
lot of
need?
experience.
but yeah, you don't need to be the point person. You may just be interviewing at the wrong places. Go to some place that maybe it's it starts bivocationally, and they have a
Absolutely.
part-time position. You need to work part-time somewhere else, but you don't have to be. I've never heard of churches saying, "Oh, you had to be on a paid staff." Now, I have at different levels. I mean, there are
Totally.
different types and sizes of churches, and capacity and skill is a big issue related to youth ministry. And if you don't have experience in that setting, but you can be a volunteer and have a lot of experience, just go after maybe a smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a smaller church is looking for someone straight out of college or right out of Bible school or not a lot of experience or whatever. So
Well, affordable.
affordable.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Because the church I started at, the position didn't require experience, but it required a willing heart and agreement with the
Yeah.
church and someone who's on board and loves students. And
Yeah.
and it was
And
a
they still
great-
hired you.
And they hired me, so
Yeah.
I somehow made it through that process and fooled them. So I would say look for a church where you can either volunteer or part time or get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. What about going
You
back
got
to
anything?
school?
Part-time. I think that's good. I mean, I don't know, that's weird to me because I feel like volunteering for 7 years sometimes is as equally as, is equal to paid youth ministry experience.
Oh yeah, 7 years is a long time
That's
for a volunteer.
That's a long time.
I
So-
think you may just be
it's
applying to
surprising,
places that
yeah.
are
Yeah.
That are looking for someone with more.
with a
Whatever.
different level of experience.
Yeah.
But 7 years is a lot.
Yeah.
Is there a denomination involved? I mean, there might be
There may
Maybe
be.
rules
denomination.
or something.
constraints.
I want to end with one more. And Katie, I know we've passed your time, so this is about beer drinking.
I don't
Which
drink.
which Katie is an expert.
She,
Well,
she
I
cuts
don't know.
herself and drinks beer.
I think Josh
not a beer
shouldn't joke
drinker.
about stuff like that.
I just got called out.
Do you have 5 minutes? Or do you
Yeah.
want to go?
No,
Okay,
totally.
here we go.
In junior high, they
Okay,
scratch.
stop, and you be who you are.
Thank you.
All right. Please don't mention my name or church. I have a situation where I could use some advice. A few times a year, our youth group heads to pizza after youth group to hang out. This past Sunday, we had one scheduled, but I had to cancel it at the last minute. About half of the group, about 15, decided to go anyway on their own accord. 2 of the young adult helpers who went along thought it would be cool for them to order a few beers for themselves. I decided to stop in to see how things were going and ended up being quite shocked. I didn't say anything at the time, but I've been wondering what to do or say. While I realized this wasn't a quote-unquote official youth group activity, it still broke my heart to see these
Yeah.
two leaders drinking alcohol at a table with about 12 other teenagers and one other adult who didn't drink. I know they are of age and had IDs, but I feel that something needs to be said and maybe done. One of them called me that night to apologize, and the other contacted a different adult to apologize. I still plan to talk to the two young adults face-to-face about it, then talk to the other youth leaders about being extra careful when we're around teenagers. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. I didn't know if you thought we should make a big deal of it in front of the entire youth group, or just have the two helpers apologize privately to those who were there. Also, didn't know if they should be relieved of their duties. They didn't have very much responsibility anyway, for a short season to appease any potentially angry parents. We haven't received any complaints yet, but it has only been a few days. A little more background. We are a conservative church where drinking is generally frowned upon, and there are a few members of our youth group whose families are currently being torn apart because of alcohol abuse. Katie, you are the queen of volunteers.
That is a great scenario.
What do you do in that situation?
Well, I definitely think, oh gosh, I definitely think that, drinking in front of students is never appropriate, just because, I'm sure we could list a lot of reasons, but I think, alcohol can lead to, loss of control and things like that, even 1 or 2 beers, things like that. And so I think just engaging in that in front of students, I just feel like perception is that crazy. It definitely reflects upon your leadership, your judgment, all of those things. I don't know if I would relieve them of their duties. I think that I would bring them in, talk to them. I don't think apologizing to the whole youth group or in front of the youth group is the right thing to do or necessary, but I think that I would try to work them through that and talk to them about perception and help them process that and why was that not a good decision. And I don't know if I would relieve them of their duties. I don't know if that totally warrants that, because they are of age. They're not breaking the law. They're not necessarily doing anything illegal. They're just made a poor judgment call. So I don't know if that...
Well, and what were the expectations that were communicated up front?
Right.
If,
That's
as
huge.
the leader here, we don't know who it is, but if you've never communicated anything to your volunteers specifically on this,
Sure.
then actually you have to own up to some of it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where
it's
I
not.
went.
There's still a little bit of a common sense, think wisely moment. However,
Definitely
Right.
a conversation is needed with the two guys, but my first thought, Matt,
Yeah.
was that I have to, as the primary leader,
You gotta
I got to
own it.
hold up the mirror and go, wow. And this is how we learn. This
Yeah.
is part of
Totally.
ministry. Most of
Totally.
everything I know about ministry comes from mistakes, or I thought my leaders knew that and they didn't, so
Right.
now I got to be
Yeah.
clear. Now, if I had a contract that they signed
That
and they
said I
signed
won't
something
drink.
that said
Or a covenant, yeah.
whatever, then you relieve them, give them a
Right.
season
Yeah.
off. But I think you hold up the mirror and go, gosh, this needs to be a wake-up call to me as a leader to say to my volunteers, which it sounds like he's going to do, but definitely a conversation. Now, he also said they were young leaders, so sometimes 21, 22,
right, they get excited because they can order a
it's
beer.
a cool thing, I can
Sure.
order beer,
Yeah.
and where it's casual, it's after youth group.
Just friends,
The
you know,
fact-
in a youth event.
yeah.
Luther drank. Come on, whatever it might be. But I think there needs to be this is an issue of discernment. Now, at this table, there are 3 non-drinkers and 1
Alcohol.
heavy drinker.
Yeah.
And
It's not as heavy anymore.
no, he's lost 30, 40 pounds. But
Who's the drinker at this table?
you are
Oh, you are.
you're not a heavy drinker.
No,
don't even know
I'm fat. I happen to be a heavy person who also drinks, but I'm not a
also has
heavy.
heavy drinker
I'm not a
who drinks
heavy
in moderation.
drinker.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
all have different philosophies, theology on it.
For sure. Right. In
There's
some cases,
nothing
this
in the
is a
Bible.
big deal.
You can make a case
Right.
for adequate consumption of alcohol. Adequate.
Yeah, adequate's weird, but
Restraint.
but it's yeah.
It's not
moderation.
illegal. I chose early on because we have so many kids in our house. This is before we had children. That it wasn't a big deal to me. I
Yeah.
never really enjoyed the taste anyway. But I just didn't want it in my refrigerator. So kids come over to my house and they go, "Oh, my youth pastor drinks. Therefore, it's
I'm gonna
okay.
drink."
Then
Yeah.
I can." And that's just. I'm not saying that is anybody's value but mine. That's just what I chose. Now, when you guys on staff at Saddleback, you've signed a covenant that says you won't, and the reason for that was because when
Southern Baptist.
well, I don't know if it's Southern Baptist as much as it was when Saddleback Church was started alcoholism was a big deal, and
Totally.
and the pastor didn't want to give this perception,
Yeah.
not to be a stumbling block.
Above
Right.
reproach.
But a small group leader that would have a wine rack in their house with vintage wines,
Yeah.
we would not say we cannot have a small group there.
Sure.
Right.
So I would say we would be very realistic and
But
yet
you
put
can't-
out the boundaries
yeah.
ahead of time. And I would also just
I
say
love
this,
it that you went vintage wine rack, by the way.
well, it just felt like a little less than.
No, I just like that.
Oh,
I
okay.
just that was nice.
Well, the first time I walked into a house, a small group house I was visiting, I was like, holy crap, there's wine everywhere. And it panicked me because my background
Right.
is conservative fundamental Baptist church. And so my only add to what your incredible answers would be, it's a big deal to the people in your church. If a parent complains, don't brush it off as a,
Right.
just
Yeah.
all silly kids.
Totally.
Own
Address
it,
it. Yeah.
and look them in the eyes and tell them that it is a big deal to you and make sure they know because it is a big deal to them.
Well, let's take that on any conflict. Let's make this a
Sure.
little more universal. If you're going to be confronted by a parent, I would rather be confronted and say, I know exactly what you're saying, and I've already taken these 4 steps. Because
Right.
I think that's a good leader. You don't wait till somebody comes with
Yeah.
and says, we haven't heard complaints yet. Go ahead and take the
Address
right
it,
steps,
right.
address it, and then you can say, I'm not defending it. I just want to let you know as a leader, I've taken.
Well, and I think that's wise. I think the problem comes in the church and everywhere out of the church is that there becomes too many rules, too much red tape, too many hoops to jump through when there's a mistake and you swing the pendulum way over here, and it's like, well, I'm not going to let that happen again, and you just come down with the salt,
Universal
this
policies
universal,
and-
yeah. So like letting, you had already mentioned earlier, I don't know if that I'd have them take a break. I mean, the expectation wasn't set, and they apologized and whatever. They knew what they did wasn't a great idea. I wouldn't put them on a break to appease parents. I mean, that's also,
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a good reason to discipline somebody else. And it's not going to help the kids in your youth ministry. But when the parents come to you asking a question and you own up to it, hey, it is important. Hey, and it was my fault. To a degree, it was my fault. And here's the steps I've taken to change it.
That's huge.
That's different than swinging this. If you ever even mention the word alcohol, you cannot ever
Yeah,
be a
that's
leader.
I think it's important just to tell volunteers up front, hey, you're dealing with people that are in process, not completed projects. So,
Yeah.
a younger leader or an older leader, there are things, you making it more general. I mean, this is like any other little situation that
Yeah.
is a poor judgment call or somebody didn't think something through before they said it or did it. And I think it's important to be in process with our volunteers as much as we are with our students
That's
and be
really good,
willing to,
Yeah.
coach them
Yep,
through a
yep,
life
yep.
situation that it's like, hey, this was kind of a boneheaded thing to do, but how can we do it different next time? How can I pray this through with you? I mean, so I think being in process with all of our people, so our students,
really
our
good.
leaders, and our parents,
Really
Yeah.
good.
it's a big,
Yeah,
I think that's
and
a
then
big part
give
of it.
them a copy of 99 Things. Every Small Group
Exactly,
Leader Should Know.
Where you
exactly.
can read about a
Where it
situation
says,
where a
don't
small
drink
group
beers
leader-
in front of your students.
No, a small group leader took
Things or thoughts?
went to Hooters with some guys. We read about it.
Oh,
in the
that's
last
right.
third of the book.
That's right.
It's really an interesting.
I
one of my
remember
favorite
reading that
books.
and just
Yeah.
going, "Are you kidding me?"
What kind of a leader are you, Griffin?
No.
Hey, I had to own it.
Why did you
And
go
I had to
there?
look parents in the eyes.
And I had to go there to Hooters and see what I had to take the environment
I
in.
had to just understand.
Yeah.
I wanted to
It was
look
research.
Oh, dear.
You're just trying to be
dear.
hip with the young
dear.
people. All right, love you guys.
Oh, dear.
Team members, send in your photos if you're 00 legit or 00 reborn, and send us in name ideas.
Redone.
Matt's gonna be
Skinnier next week.
skinnier next week. I'm gonna be balder. Katie's gonna be just as wonderful,
Oh, thank
and
you.
Josh won't be so giggly.
Oh, I might.